Very well. Let us chant the last 10 verses of chapter 10, starting from verse 33. Aksharaणामकारosmi Bandhas samasikasya cha Ahamevakshaya kalaha Ghataham vishvato mukha Mrityu sarvaharashchaham Udbhavascha bhavishyatam Kirti shrirvakshanarinam Smrtirmedhadriti kshama Brihasama tatha samnam Gayatri chandasamaham Masanam margashishoham Ritunam kusumakaraha Yutam chalayatam Tejas tejasvinamaham Jayosmi vyavasayosmi Sattvam sattvavatamaham Krishninam vasudevosmi Pandavanam dhananjaya Muninamapyaham vyasaha Kavinamushana kavihi Dando dhamayatam Nitirasmi jigishatam Maunam chaivasmi gopyanam Jnanam jnanavatamaham Yacchapi sarvabhutanam Bijam tadahamarjuna Na tadasti vina yatsyan Maya bhutam characharam Nantosti mama divyanam Vibhutinam parantapa Yesha tu deshatha proktaha Vibhuter vistaro maya Yadhyad vibhutimat sattvam Srimadujjitameva va Tattadeva vagachatvam Mama tejomsha sambhavam Athava bahunaitena Kim jnatena tavarjuna Vishtabhyahamitam kritsnam Yekamshena sthito jagat
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavid Vishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Yes.
Yes, many weeks back, sir, what about the attachment? You told us about Uttama Padala, Uttama Madhyama Padala, people living off dowry, siblings, money, parents' money, and all that, right? So that time I brought up this point on verse number 36, which we covered 2 weeks back. So the gambling reference that he makes. So this is where does gambling falls there in I think it's not Uttama, so maybe it is Uttama or Padala, one of those, right? So need your help in understanding where gambling falls and whether it is in any way gambling is in any way connected to those categories that you mentioned in purpose of attachment class.
Verse number 36. The question is with reference to verse number 36. Verse number 36, he talks about gambling. I am gambling of the fraudulent. Asmi dyutam chalayata. Amongst the fraudulent, deceitful practices, I am gambling. Now the question is, does this gambling belong to Uttama or
Those categories you mentioned, Madhyama Padala.
Madhyama Padala? Okay, in some other class, I don't remember what I said. In some other class, I said there are categories where depending on the level of your selfishness, you go down. Depending on the level of selfishness, you go down and down and down. And there are various levels of selfishness we spoke about. Various levels of inactivity. Various levels of selfishness we spoke about. To explain the various levels of selfishness, certain examples were given. Okay. See, the person, okay, ideally a normal human being, not extraordinary spiritual person, a normal human being must earn their bread. That's all. That's all it is. Now, nobody, when I say nobody, means most won't do that. They go lower and lower and lower. What are the various levels you can go? One of the Dharma Shastra books gives the list. It's not my list. They gave a list. And that list is a very painful list. First thing he says is, okay, living on inheritance. Living on inheritance is very low way of living. So, living on inheritance, at least inheritance is father and mother. Inheritance is at least father and mother. That itself is not acceptable. You should be serving, not living on that. Second is living siblings. The siblings earn and you live on them. The lowest category, he says, where the naraka that they have to go through for a very, very long time is the fellow living on dowry. They give that list. Fellow living on dowry. Legally dowry wrong, nobody bothers, isn't it? Who cares? So these are all the things that he gives, which I mentioned in some other class. I went into detailed elaboration of which I'm not doing here. In some other class, we did that. Now the question that Ram Subramaniam is asking is, in verse number 36, that gambling, where does it fit under? Dowry ki kiliya, dowry ki maliya. That's all he's asking. Correct?
It is not Uttama for sure.
Correct.
So it must be Padala something close to that. Right? So,
What kind of a quality it is? Where it will fit in? Dowry தான் lowest. அதுக்கு கீழெல்லாம் கிடையாது. Dowry is the lowest, cheapest way of அது என்ன சொல்றது? நரகா தான். Lowest, cheapest, there's no word to describe that. When everybody does it, becomes right. Yeah, the way that the human society lives it is, when everybody starts doing it, it becomes right. Now, where does this gambling fit in? Where does this gambling fit in? What is gambling? If you understand what gambling is, then you will know where to place it. Gambling is what? Gambling is an attitude. Gambling is an attitude. What is attitude behind gambling? Chalayatam. Activity that robs your discriminative power. Activity that robs your discriminative power. Of the various activities that robs your discriminative power, what is the best? What is the best? Gambling. So he is not talking about gambling. Gambling is the best activity amongst all the activities that robs your discriminative power. Chalayata. The meaning of the word chalayata means amongst those activities that robs your discriminative power. Amongst those activities, I'm gambling. Why? Because once you get into that, you can never get out. You will lose everything. You will borrow and then you will lose everything. The whole lot will be in the streets, but still that fellow will not stop because the discriminative power is lost. See, what is gambling? First, that fellow will lose everything. Not only he will lose everything, what he will do? He'll go on borrow from everybody. He will borrow and lose that also. What is the consequences of that? Bankruptcy, living in the streets, but still that person will not stop. Look at the world today. இன்னைக்கு கிருஷ்ணா என்ன சொல்லியிருப்பாரு? இன்னைக்கு கிருஷ்ணா இருந்திருந்தாருன்னா he would not have said fraudulent. He would not have used the word gambling. You know what word he would have used today? இன்னைக்கு என்ன word யூஸ் பண்ணிருப்பாரு? Loan. இன்னைக்கு இருந்தாருன்னா he would have used the word borrowing. Because everybody is, who is not borrowing? At every level, they keep the person here taking your signature when you enter the house, he is also borrowing. The person sitting on the highest rung of the economic ladder is also borrowing. So down the line, everybody is borrowing, is gambling. Borrowing is what? You borrow and borrow and borrow. Has anybody become rich out of borrowing? Is there any single person in this planet become rich out of borrowing? Nobody. And yet the whole world borrows. No, follow what I'm saying? So, activity that robs your discriminative power. There's an activity that robs your discriminative power. Of all the activities that robs your discriminative power, there is an addiction which will destroy you, destroy everybody around you, but still you can't see, you will not stop. It destroys you, it destroys everybody around you. You will not be able to see it. You will not be able to, the destruction will go on happening, but you can't see it. Because it has robbed the discriminative power. In those days, gambling. Also Pawan. The entire battle is because of that one game that Yudhishthira played. And all of them wanted to murder Yudhishthira because of that. So he's telling Arjuna, don't worry, Adugoda Nandappa, he's saying. Don't get so upset with Yudhishthira for that thing. That is also me only. Leave that fellow. Poor fellow, leave him aside, continue what you got to do now. Are you able to follow? have you ever observed gambling, in borrowing, who do you keep at stake? In gambling also, who was kept at stake?
He started keeping his brothers at stake.
Mm,
Finally, Draupadi.
correct. The brothers, the wife, the whole lot is kept at stake. Are you able to follow? The whole lot will be kept at stake. In loan, who's kept at stake? In loan also, who's kept at stake? Everything is kept at stake. Because the discriminative power is lost. Today you can have a PhD degree, you can have a Nobel Prize winners coming and telling you that borrowing is the right way to grow, borrowing is the way economy grows. By borrowing only, because of borrowing only, we have become rich. There can PhD people can come and tell you that. Oxford, Harvard can teach you that. Stanford can teach you that. The whole world can teach you that. Krishna is very backward. Krishna is very backward in his thinking. And if Krishna is that backward, I am 10 steps behind him in backwardness. Nobody will listen. That's okay. Because in Vedanta, we are used to one thing. What? You will talk where nobody is going to listen. So there's absolutely no problem because of the understanding. Loans. Are you able to follow? Why? Because they keep everything is at stake. The house is at stake. The family is at stake. The welfare of everybody is at stake. And the justification will be what? What? Keeping them at stake is their welfare. Minimum thing if you have to do is what? At least leave them alone and say, at least you stake yourself. You go and stake yourself, and why do you have to stake the whole lot? And it is also why it is said, because look at the name of that fellow, Dharmaputra. Yudhishthira is called Dharma Raja. His Dharmaputra is supposed to be the embodiment of Dharma, can lose the discriminative power. If that person can lose discriminative power, where are we? I am the activity in that which robs your discriminative power. What is the best? What is the best? Gambling சொல்லக்கூடாது. Gambling சொல்லக்கூடாது. Of the discriminative, of all the activities that robs your discriminative power, what is the best? Gambling சொல்லக்கூடாது. இந்த கான்டெக்ட்ல என்ன சொல்லணும்? லோன்னு சொல்லணும். borrowing சொல்லணும். Borrowing. Go on and on borrowing. Individual borrows, family borrows, country borrows, everybody is borrowing. எல்லாரும் கொடுத்து யார்கிட்ட தான் இருக்குதுன்னு தெரியல. Everybody is giving, lending. From where it all comes, God only knows. From where it comes, who gets it back, who's making what. It's also Brahman Kuda is very easy to understand. Ram Subramanian. Brahman Vedantana very easy to understand. This world and how they function in the world is something mind-boggling. How they even get up every day and walk around laughing, smiling, happy, celebrating. God only knows how all this is happening. So, yeah, able to follow? This is loan. So, first category. Minimum thing in some other context. We said a human being should follow minimum dharma. What is the minimum dharma? That day I have to earn my food. Minimum, that is. Minimum. I have to do something to earn that food. Yeah. Who does it? Nobody. When I say nobody, means most don't do it. Or any choice given, will anybody want to do it? Supposing if the government says, if somebody comes and says, everything of you is taken care of, don't worry. What will the human mind do? What will the human mind want to do? Simply Indulge. You follow? So minimum thing that everybody has to do is what? Earn their. The third chapter he said, he who eats without producing is a thief. Third chapter, Karma Yoga, first lesson Karma Yoga, he says, he who eats without producing is a thief. Stena eva saha. Producing na office ponundradhe kedayadu. Keep doing. There are so many things I can do to earn my bread and one fellow says, I will do it. I will earn it. We'll say that person has some spine, some backbone. Yeah. Second, living on. Why do I have to worry, sir? So much is there. Why do I have to? I can simply roam around, keep myself entertained. Why should I bother? Because inheritance is there. Lower category, that is. No inheritance, but live on others. Who are they living on? Other siblings, brothers, because who else will give you? Nobody will give. So the brothers and sisters, what will they do? Oh my God, this fellow is part of it. Might as well keep doing something. Yeah, there are so many people who do that. One person was telling me, got some liver issues and liver is packed up and the liver transplant has to happen. He's telling me, my brother, sir, what do I do? My brother, no, what do I do? I have to pay, I have to get the treatment done, I have to go for the transplant. It's X amount of money is involved in that. So he's saying, what to do, sir, brother? What can I do? That is, and then they say, what is the thieving? Idallam thieving. Are you able to follow? These are all thieving. Living on inheritance is thieving. Living on the brothers and sisters is thieving. The மாதிரி thievingலயே category வந்துகிட்டே இருக்குது. Worst category na dowry, he says. Dowry. The worst thing is the dowry. Shastra talks about it so much. Now the rule has come. Constitutional, you can't take. If you take dowry, you can be behind bars. I don't know, 7 years, I think now. 7 years, 10 years, you can be behind bars. The 20s and 30s, the Acharya used to speak about, don't take. Is that a thing to do? How we don't understand these things. Are you able to follow? Why we don't understand these things is because we live like animals. Even though we all think we are human beings, we live like animals. What is living like animal means? Pratyaksha. We go by what we see. We cannot penetrate and understand the truths of life. That animals can't penetrate. They just live life. They go by what they see. That's it. What they see, they go by. Are you able to follow? Human beings also live life like animals. Because we don't penetrate and see, we are so carried away by what we see, and we don't understand what is called as the sukshma of dharma. It's called dharma. It's called dharma sukshma. Sukshma means the subtlety. The subtleties of dharma is subtlety nale kashtam. Dharma ve kashtam. Dharma itself is very difficult. Of that, sukshma is much more difficult. We never had we don't have doubts about dharma at all. One person who had doubts about dharma all the time is Lord Rama. We don't have doubts about dharma at all. Rama had doubts about dharma all the time. Any sage he meets, any wise person he meets, the first question that he will ask is, teach me dharma. Teach me dharma. Talk to me about dharma. Teach me dharma. The Rishi says, you yourself is embodiment of dharma, Rama. Yeah. You yourself is an embodiment of dharma. What dharma are you asking us to teach you? He says, no, the sukshma is how much ever you penetrate, it is sukshma, subtle. That's why it's called adrishta, subtle. It's not drishta means gross. Adrishta means subtle. Adrishtana luck isn't it? ரொம்ப அதிர்ஷ்டம் ஜாஸ்தி சார்னா லக்குன்னு அதிர்ஷ்ட மீன்ஸ் சூக்ஷ்ம subtle means that which can be penetrated and understood. Are you able to follow? சரியா? So gambling-லாம் விட்டுருங்க. Of all the fraudulent activities, what is the activity that you should avoid? Borrowing. அது வரும். Borrowing-ன்றது வானான்னாலே what a relief it is. What a relief. You can walk with your heads high. What a relief it is. லோன் வாங்கின என்ன கஷ்டம் சார்? பேங்க்ரப்ட்னு எழுதி கொடுத்தாச்சுன்னு அவ்வளோதான், சரியா போச்சு. திருப்பி கொடுக்கணுன்ற there's no need to. All the problem comes only if you have an intention of repaying. No, I borrow and I'm bankrupt. Correct? Logic is correct, no? I borrow, I became bankrupt. What to do? Write it off. Next day, go and borrow somewhere. Write it off. Bankrupt, sir. What to do? We don't understand it, penetrate. Are you able to follow?
So just one point, sir. Understood this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, governments today, lottery is banned in some states, but taking loan from bank and all is not banned anywhere. It is universal.
Correct. Correct. Lottery. What a dharma it is. Correct. Lottery. Correct. Lottery இல்லை எங்களை அதனால ஞாபகமே இருக்கிறது இல்லை. Thank God. Lottery. ₹1 ticket, 1 crore. What a deal it is, no? ₹1 ticket. But sir, the money goes to the government only, no? It is going for welfare activities only, no? God only knows what is their definition of welfare. God only knows who's attaining welfare. Correct. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Where are we now?
We got about 38 last week, sir.
No. Chapter 10 தான் இருக்கிறோம் இன்னும், isn't it? We didn't finish chapter 10. அவரை ராம் சுப்ரமணியம் கொஞ்ச நாளைக்கு பேன் பண்ணுங்க கிளாஸ்ல இருந்து. He is bugging me so much, irritating me with all this. I told him you should not attend online class. You should not attend only. From the other part of the planet, he is coming and sitting right in front of me now. Yeah. No, if he is coming and sitting in my house, what can I do now? Very good question. Fraudulent na இன்னைக்கு என்ன நினைச்சுக்கோங்க? Fraudulent na don't worry about gambling. இன்னைக்கு fraudulent activity na என்னது? Borrowing தான். இவ்வளவு he who eats without producing is a thief. Every meal I should have done something. If I have not done anything, don't eat. Very simple. Every meal I should have done something. I should have done. Isn't it? Verse number 19 to 38. Chapter 10. The vibhutis were enumerated. The first vibhuti will be equated to Chit. The last vibhuti in 39, he will conclude with Sat. First vibhuti, Chit, he will say. In verse number 39, he will conclude with Sat. And then he gave a whole lot of glories. Where all it is glory, what all is beautiful, meaningful, understand it as me. That is, And if you look at the list, he gave about 75 items he gave. 75 things he has given from 19 to 38. If you make a list, up to 39 also you can come. If you make the list, he gives about 75 items he gives. The chart itself is there. The 75 things he gives. All that can be broadly categorized into three. The entire 75 can be broadly categorized into three. In relation to the Jiva, some. In relation to Jagat, some. In relation to the other lokas and the deities and all that, some. So there are three categories. First is Jiva. Related to the individual, he gave a list. What all is in relation to the individual, he said, it's me, it's me, it's me. In relation to Jagat, it is, it's me, it's me, it's me. Related to other lokas. Other lokas means Kubera, Chitraratha, Airavata, Vasuki. All this doesn't belong to neither the Jiva nor the Jagat. It belongs to something. So the third category. So related to Jiva, 33 things he says. Related to Jagat, 24 items. Related to the lokas, 18. Yama, Aryama, Varuna, Ananta, Vasuki. Idallam belongs to other lokas. The radiant sun, the moon, the ocean, the Himalayas, the lion, the Vainateya, the shark, the Ganges. Amongst the months I am Margasirsha. That also is me. So all this relates to Jagat. And then comes to the Jiva, the individual. What is this? Mind, intelligence, logic, fame, prosperity, speech, memory, intelligence, forgiveness, Gayatri, gambling. Ram Subramanian and gambling are so attached to each other. Yeah, he's not able to leave this gambling. Gambling, victory, determination, goodness, statesmanship, silence, knowledge. All these are relating to the Jiva, the individual. So he made a very comprehensive list. Why he made that list? Because Arjuna asked a question. What was the question that Arjuna asked? Tell me your glories. I have heard from the Shastras, I have heard from the Shastras, I have read. And great people are also, I have heard from great rishis talking about your glories. That's second hand, third hand report, isn't it? Shastra is talking about you, somebody talking about it. These are all second hand report, third hand report. I want to know from you what are your glories. For which he says, why are you asking this question? Gudakesha. Gudakesha. That's how he started. Gudakesha na sleeping at the time where they should not be sleeping. Adukku per Gudakesha. Thungave kadayadu. Understand Gudakesha means Ganesh. Gudakesha means sleeping at a time where avladhan. Gudakesha தூங்குற நேரத்துல தூங்கணும், மூச்சு நேரத்துல மூச்சு எடுக்கணும். அதுதான் குடாகேஷன். Isn't it? Bhagavad Gita lecture கொடுக்கும்போது தூங்கி போனா what to do? இல்லையா? Gudakesha. So he says, Ahamatma Gudakesha. I am the self in everyone, Arjuna. I am the self. I am the self in everyone. That is not understandable. What is the self in everyone? That is not understandable. Therefore, what he did, he picked up manifestations. Manifestations that everybody can see, appreciate. These are There are manifestations that everybody can see. There are these manifestations everybody can appreciate. And these are these manifestations that everybody will want to associate also. Everybody will want to associate with this kind of glories. And then he said, all this is me. So the entire list is given. The entire list is given. And then he says, this is me, this is me, this is me. So the entire vibhuti, define it into three ways. The jiva, the jagat, the other lokas. Other lokas, if you can't identify with it, leave it. At least jiva and jagat. Because we go only by what we see. The other lokas are not seen. It is there only because it is said in the Shastras. That's all. It is said in the Shastras, therefore it's there. No, sir, but but scientifically, that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. At least understand the divine in what you see. At least see the divine in the drishta. At least learn to see the divine in the drishta. Even in the drishta, the divine is not seen. Even in drishta, what do you see? Even in the drishta, what do you see? Dvesha only you see. Hatred only comes. Anger comes, hatred comes, frustration comes. All this only is happening. Where is divine seen? Or if at all there is a divine, that divine is more like an imaginary thing. Wherever we see divine, the divine that we see also becomes a kind of imaginary thing. Therefore, he says, learn to see the divine in jiva, learn to see the divine in jagat, learn to see the divine in other lokas. Meaning, learn to see the divine everywhere. That which is there, you have to learn to see. Another human tragedy. The human tragedy is divine is there. We have to learn to see it. Why can't we just see it like that? If we can just open the eyes and just see the divine, there's absolutely no, because that's what it is. That's what is there. It's only divine. But we don't. But the eyes doesn't see it. Because the eyes is seeing something else. Why? Because it's not the eyes are not seeing the divine because the eyes are seeing something else. What is that something else? Materiality and sensuality is what the eyes see, and whatsoever we do, we want to bring the divine also into this category of the seen. And what the eyes can see, the eyes see only the materiality and sensuality. Therefore, learn to see the divine means drop the material and sensual way of looking at things. When you learn to drop the materiality and sensuality, the divine becomes visible. Actually speaking, this is the method which we are going to discuss. The last few verses we're going to discuss the method. What is the method? There's no learning to see the divine, learning to drop the wrong way of seeing. You drop the wrong way of seeing, divine becomes visible. You don't have to learn to see even though we keep saying learn to see, it's not learning to see the divine. It is learning to drop the wrong way of seeing. What is the wrong way of seeing? What the eyes see. What does the eyes see? It sees only materiality and sensuality. It only sees that. Why it sees only that? Because it appears meaningful to that. There is some hope of happiness in that. Why it is material and sensual? Why the human mind is material and sensual? How much ever it gets beaten up, why it is there? That one thing, hope. That one thing called hope. Eyes have lots of hopes. The eyes have lot of hopes. And what is hope? What is the definition of hope?
Future will be better than this.
Correct. Hope means that the future is going to be better than the present. That's the hope. Correct. Very good. Correct. Hope means the future is going to be better than the present. It is that hope that keeps the eyes wide open. More the misery, more the hopes. Have you ever observed this? More miserable you are, more hopes you will have. Isn't it? More miserable you are, more hopes you have. More happy and contented you are.
Yes.
Correct. So if you have to break the pattern of, if you have to break this thing of hope, driving, seeing everything through hopes, see it rightly. What is it seeing it rightly? The opposite of hope is in a hopeless. What is the opposite of hope? The opposite of hope is contentment. The opposite of hope is not hopelessness. The linguistic opposite of yosikadingo. Shankar. Don't think like linguistic opposite say yosikudadu. Clear? Opposite of attachment. Opposite of attachment. Love. That's linguistic thinking. The opposite of attachment is indifference. The opposite of attachment is indifference. Attachment length, you will never go into love. From attachment, you will only go to indifference. But then we are so used to this linguistic way of thinking, we simply talk which we don't understand or mean anything at all. Are you able to follow? Linguistic opposite, light and darkness. அதே மாதிரி அப்படியே எடுத்துனே போனா attachment and love. Similarly, opposite of hope is hopeless. The opposite of hope is contentment. Because where there is a contentment, the present itself is so beautiful. Are you able to follow now? Where there is a contentment, the present is so beautiful. The present is so wonderful. The mind that is contented in the present can see things penetratively. The eyes that is carried away by hopes cannot see things penetrate. Are you able to understand now? The divine is there, but we are not seeing it by hopes. What is the hope? Something that will happen, something that I don't have, and if I get it, I'll be happy. That's the hope. I don't have it. அது எப்படியாவது வந்துடுச்சுன்னா I'll be happy. So hope is an illusion. Hope is an illusion. Illusion of what? Something that you don't have, and if you get it, you can be happy. Misery ஜாஸ்தி ஆக ஆக என்ன ஆகும்? Hope goes on increasing. A miserable society can never become religious. A miserable individual can never become religious. Only a contented person can become religious. Only a contented society can turn religious. Today we think miserable people should come to religion as a problem to as a solution to their misery. You come here, you'll be more miserable. Because carrying with the same hope. What is the hope that you come to God also with? He will solve all the problems. You come here, he doesn't look like solving any problem. Hopes. Are you able to follow? Learn to see the divine means learn contentment. The contented person alone can see the divine. A miserable person cannot see divine. It's a law. But again, the misunderstanding is what? Sir, கஷ்டத்தில் இருக்கும்போது தானே சார் God வேணும். Isn't it? ஹாப்பியா இருக்கும்போது பார்ட்டி வேணுமா? Isn't it? ஹாப்பியா இருக்கும்போது பார்ட்டி வேணும், கஷ்டத்தில் இருக்கும்போது garden. கஷ்டத்துல இருக்கும்போது காடு, அப்ப மிச்ச நேரத்தில் எதுக்கு சார் காடு? able to follow? Our vision of divine itself is so, அது vision இல்ல, அது pathetic, அது, isn't it? It's so pathetic. The vision of divine itself is so pathetic. Therefore, what is the way? Learn to see the divine means see the abundance of the present, get contented in the present. Recognizing the abundance, getting contented is the way to become truly religious. Whether you like it or not, accept it or not, the truth is this. A contented person alone can become truly religious. A miserable person will only seek freedom from misery. And religion is used as a tool to get freedom from misery. Religion is not a tool to get freedom from misery. Religion is to make you see the divine. If you have to see the divine, your eyes has to be available to see it. And the eyes are preoccupied with, the eyes today is preoccupied with what? Hopes. Eyes are preoccupied with hope. What is the hope? Something, I don't know, whatever the learn to see the divine means get qualified to see the divine. Learn to see the divine means get qualified to see the divine. And what is the qualification to see the divine? The qualification to see the divine is contentment. The qualification to see the divine is contentment. Opposite of contentment is hopes. அப்படின்னு என்ன அர்த்தம்? உள்ள வரும்போது ஹோப்ஸ் எல்லாம் விட்டுட்டு வரணும். You leave the hopes and come, you see the divine. You carry hopes and come, you will go back more miserable. Everywhere it happens like that, isn't it? That day the class was so good, sir. This week the class has to be better than that, and hopefully you come. That day how the class will look like? That day the class will be very flat. Class is not flat. Why it appears to be flat? Because you came in with the hope. You came in with the hope. And what is that hope? Illusion. Hope is an illusion. Eyes are the human eyes are so caught up in this illusion, it is not there to see the divine. So what he did? 75 clues he gave. 75 areas he has given you to see divine. Are you able to follow? 75 areas he has given you to see the divine. Either one now, that's what he says. Yeah. 75 clues I have given. Is there any better clue, sir? Is there any 76th clue now? There's nothing can be. Yeah. 75 clue, if you don't get, you are not going to get it in 76th. Yeah. If you are not going to get contented, if you are not contented with what you have today, you can never be contented with what you are going to get tomorrow. Yeah, it is like that. Therefore, this Vibhuti Yoga is 75 clues, 75 areas where he has spotted and told you, these are all things that you see. Wherever you see this, remember me. Remember me. Remember me. Verse number 39.
यच्चापि सर्वभूतानां बीजं तदहमर्जुन न तदस्ति विना यत्स्यान् मया भूतं चराचरम् यच्चापि सर्वभूतानां बीजं तदहमर्जुन न तदस्ति विना यत्स्यान् Maya bhutam characharam.
And also, I am that which is the seed of all beings, O Arjuna. There is no being moving or unmoving which can exist without me. And also, I am that which is the seed of all beings, O Arjuna. There is no being moving or unmoving which can exist without me. Charachara. Charachara means moving and unmoving. Charachara means moving and unmoving. In this moving and unmoving, this moving and unmoving is all that you know of. All that you know of, something moves, something doesn't move. The rocks don't move. The plants move in one direction. Plants move, but they just move in one direction. The animals move from the animals move in all directions. Human beings, moon la we will land, isn't it? We move. So everything belongs to Charam and Charam. I am that Arjuna. And na இவ்வளோ சொன்னதுக்கு இவ்வளோ சொல்லியிருக்கிறோம். இவ்வளோ சொன்னதுக்கு different I am going to say something now. What? How much ever I told you about all these things, understand it as I am the seed, Bijam. I am the Bijam, seed. Seed refers to the causes. The seed refers to the cause. We have seen that any number of times. Seed is the source. Seed means the source, the cause. You see the effect and you forget the cause. That's how people are. You see the effect and you forget the cause. You see the tree and forget the seed. You see the seed and forget you see the tree and forget the seed because you don't see the cause. You are so carried away by the effect, by the tree. You see the tall building and miss the foundation that is supporting it. Why? Because it is unseen. Because you can never have building buried and foundation on top, no? If the building is buried and foundation is top, you can see. But then it is always the ulta. The seed has to die to become the tree. That's a limitation of that example. The limitation of that example is the seed has to perish for the tree to appear. Here, the example is about the seed. Is what? We have seen this any number of times. Material cause, intelligent cause, instrumental cause. For anything that is created, for all that is created, there are three causes. What are the three causes? The material cause, the intelligent cause, and the instrumental cause. For the pot, the clay is the material cause. The potter is the intelligent cause. The instruments that he used to convert the clay to pot is the wheel, the post, the samba, the sunlight, etc. All that are instrumental causes. So, when you say you see a pot, you see three things in it. In any creation, there are three things. God created the world. God is the creator. God is a creator, not like the potter creating the pot. We say God is the creator. we will immediately think what? The creator and the created are different. The creator doesn't become the creation. Correct? Does the creator becomes the created? No. Therefore, God is the creator, the world is the created. Oh, then we segregate the two. How do we segregate the two? The creator is separate, the created is separate. Like the potter to the pot. And the moment we see the creator, there has to be a purpose for the creation. The potter created the pot for time pass. Huh? Didn't know what else to do, sir. Got so bored, so I started making the pot. For every creation, there is a purpose. So when you say God created the world, then another problem that you'll have is for what? For what purpose? For what purpose? Carrying the water. The potter created the pot. Similarly, what is the purpose for God creating the world? We get into too much of confusions. But in a difficulty of confusion answer isn't it? It doesn't seem to confuse anybody. An answer seems to be there for. So Vedanta comes and says, God created the world. No, God is part of the world. No, God is the world. Again, God created the world. God is part of the world. God appearing as the world. These are the three statements. And all three are contradictory to each other. The relationship between God and the world. Three stages. God created there is a creator. Wherever you see the created, there has to be a creator. And wherever you see an order in the creation, the one who's created has to be supremely. There has to be a supreme intelligence to create something which works in order without a mistake. So intelligence. So what all you see? There is a creator, and then they say second thing is there is a creator, and then the second thing is not the separated one. Both are one and the part of the creation. The third state is it is God appearing as the world. When he says Aham Bijam, in what sense is he saying? Echapi Sarva Bhutanam Bijam Tadaham Arjuna. What kind of Bijam he is? All the three. What kind of Bijam he is? He is all the three. Therefore, he says, out of me, the whole thing has come out. And when the whole thing has come out, it is me appearing as everything. Just as each and every part of the ornament gold pervades, each and every aspect of the creation, God pervades. None can exist without me, Sat. None can exist without me, moving or unmoving. Ahamatma, he started as Chit and he is concluding as Sat. None can exist without me, because that which for you to observe, interact, existence is a primary condition. Something has to exist, then only you can. For all perceptions, transactions, interactions, what is the primary condition? Existence. It has to exist. The existence is a must. Now, what is the existence here? He says, I am that existence. Meaning, without me, there is nothing that can exist. You cannot separate me and the world. That's what he said. Don't try to segregate me and the world, because it is me appearing as the world. Brahman means gold. Chain is Namarupa. Avladha. Chain is also gold only. Pure gold is Brahman. Take it like that. Pure gold is Brahman. When you see a chain, golden chain, Namarupa. Everything borrows its existence from me. For nothing can exist without me. The Prakriti borrows existence from me. I can exist independently without the Prakriti. Again, everything in nature borrows its existence from me, but I can exist independent of the Prakriti. No object or being can exist without me, but I can exist without them. Remember chapter 7, chapter 9? All this confusion we read a lot in chapter 7, and again we read a lot in chapter 9. I am in them, they are in me. I am not in them, they are not in me. You feel like asking, chapter, why are you talking like that, Krishna? At least in some chapter, say something that is agreeable. No, every chapter, if you keep talking like this, what we will do? If I am not there, there is no object at all. If I am not there, you will never see. There is no possibility of Sat. There is no possibility of Chit. Because I am the consciousness. Ahamatma Gudakesha. I am the consciousness in everything. He started by saying, I am the Chit of everything. Now he's saying, I am the Sat of everything. How much ever he talks about the Prakriti, the manifestations, glory and all that, he has to come back to the fundamental Advaita Vedanta point. He has to come back. He cannot escape that. How much ever he talks about all that, he will keep touching that again and again, and because that is the antam, that is the reality, that is the truth. The rest is a preparation to come to this truth. Therefore, what he does, he keeps repeating this again and again and again. This is verse number 39. Verse number 40. Padina.
Nantoste mama devyana vibhutinam parantapa yesha tutteshatha proktaha vibhuter vistaro maya. Nantoste mama devyana vibhutinam parantapa yesha tutteshatha proktaha vibhute vistaro maya.
There is no end to my divine manifestations, O Parantapa. This is only a brief statement by me of the extent of my manifestation. There is no end to my divine manifestations, O Parantapa. This is only a brief statement by me of the extent of my manifestation. So brief statement, na 75 vibhutis that he gave is very, very, very brief. And although his brief is never brief. Yeah, he says very brief, no, it's not brief. Such an elaborate list, he says, and then he concludes by saying, there is no end to my divine manifestations. An exact verbatim repetition of verse number 19. In verse number 19, when Arjuna asked this question, he said, there is no end. What can I tell you? Arjuna asked, tell me your glories. And in verse number 19 in the same chapter, he said, Antosti mama divyanam. There is no end to my divine glories, Arjuna. My divine manifestations, there is no end. Oh, Varandapa. This is only a brief statement of what? Proktaha Uddeshataha. உத்தேசத்தகன்னா சும்மா அப்படி தோராயமா சொன்னேன்பான்னு இல்லையா? உத்தேசம்னா நம்ம லோக்கல் லாங்குவேஜ்ல எப்படி சொல்லணும்? தோராயமா சொன்னது பார்த்துடலாம். சும்மா தோராயமா க்ளோரி என்னன்னு சொல்லியிருக்கேன். லுக் அட் த சன்ஸ்கிரிட் வேர்ட். தட்ஸ் வாட் ஹீ சேயிங். புரோக்தஹ உத்தேசத்தஹ. அவர் அதை நம்மளுக்கு வெங்கட்ட சொல்லி கொடுக்கும்போது அவர் சன்ஸ்கிரிட்ல சொல்லி கொடுக்குறாரு நம்மளுக்கு இல்லையா? அவர் சன்ஸ்கிரிட்ல சொல்லி கொடுக்கும்போது புரோக்தவான் நாந்தோஸ்தி மம திவ்யானாம் விபூதீனாம் பரந்தப ஏஷதுத்தேஸ்தகான்னு அவர் சொல்லி கொடுக்குறாரு. அதை நான் கொஞ்சம் பிரிச்சு அவர் சொன்னதை நான் எலாபரேட் பண்ணி தரேன் இல்லையா? வாட் ஹீ சேயிங் இஸ் புரோக்தஹ உத்தேசத்தஹ. உத்தேசத்தஹ மீன்ஸ் அதுதான். Anybody knows Tamil and Hindi combined? Commissioner, தோராயத்துக்கு ஹிந்தி வேர்டு என்ன? உத்தேசத்தக. தோராயம்ன்றதுக்கு ஹிந்தி வேர்டு என்ன? அப்போதான் அன்ஷு வில் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் இல்லையா? தோராயம்னா நமக்கெல்லாம் புரியுது இல்லையா? எவ்ரிபடி தோராயமா சொல்றோம்ப்பா அப்படின்னு என்ன அர்த்தம்? வெரி 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 ரஃப்லி. இதெல்லாம் வெரி ரஃப். The vibhutis that 75 manifestations that I gave is rough indicators. Yeah. Okay. Whoever knows it, tell me that.
Andaz.
You know what?
Andaz.
Okay. I didn't hear it. Did you hear, Anshu? Hindi alla I don't hear. Anybody starts talking Hindi, I will shut down. Because here we have very clear. We will not hear Hindi. என்ன கணேஷ் அது? ஹிந்தி பட சினிமா படம் மாதிரி இருக்குது அது.
Andaz.
Andaza? Okay, Andaza, Anshu. I don't know. I don't think if he is saying it, definitely it has to be wrong only. If Ganesh says it has to be wrong only. கண்டிப்பா இருக்காது. கரெக்டா அவர் சொல்றது? நான் கரெக்ட் வித்யா? நாட் கரெக்ட். கணேஷ் உத்தேசத்தஹ. Very briefly I am telling you. Very proktaha uddeshataha. Proktaha uddeshataha means very briefly I am telling you. Actually briefly kuda sollakudadu. Roughly I am telling you. What did I tell you very roughly? My divine manifestations. My divine manifestations I told you very briefly, very roughly. Why? Because there is no end to that. என்னைக்கு 10th chapter முடிக்கிறது, என்னைக்கு 18th chapter முடிக்கிறது, என்னைக்கு வார் ஆரம்பிக்கிறது? If I start talking about my manifestations fully, when will the actual thing start? What is the actual thing that has to start? What is the actual thing that has to start? The war has to start. Your battle, your glory, when it will end. Therefore he is saying Uddeshataha proktaha. Thorayama, I gave you some very loosely, very roughly, I gave you 75 indicators. If he starts elaborating it, how it will be. Yeah. That's why the elaborations are done very beautifully in the literature Sahasranama. They go into beautiful elaborations. Yeah. And that is also not, even that Sahasranama is not complete. Anga Ponan, again also he will say the same thing. Uddeshataha proktaha. Eshatu uddeshataha proktaha. What did I tell you? My vibhuti. And what is the nature? Vistaraha. Vistaraha na vast. It's so vast. I can only tell you roughly. Why? Because you are the frog in the well. The frog in the well What understanding the frog in the well can have about ocean? Remember that example? There is a frog in the well. A cousin from the ocean visited the frog in the well. Told the frog in the well that, there is this thing called ocean, so vast, so big, so huge, fantastic, all the vibhutis of ocean is given to the frog in the well. Now frog in the well is asking, oh, now I understand. Now I understand. I think your ocean will be half the size of the well. So you can't even compare like that. What is half the size of the well to the ocean? The full well? No. அதெல்லாம் தோராயமா தான் அது. Can't even compare like that. 100 wells put together becomes an ocean. 1,000 wells put together become an ocean. Billion wells put together become an ocean. Who gives up? Who gives up elaborating?
Cousin from the ocean.
Correct. Cousin from the ocean gives up. Because it is not willing to let go of the well as the benchmark. It is not willing to let go of the well as the well benchmark, which it wants to see the ocean. So, well multiplied times becomes ocean. என்ன சொல்ல முடியும்? உத்தேசத்தா புரோக்தா. தோராயமா ஒரு கணக்கு சொல்றோம்ப்பா. Million, billion, trillion times put together is adu kuda uddeshataka, because it is no way connected. Why? Because it is vistaraha. The extent is vast. See, vast means glory. See, vast means, anything vast is glorious. Anything vast is glorious. Anything vast is extraordinary. Anything vast is the divine. The microcosm is vast, the macrocosm is vast. If the mountains and the oceans are vast, the atom is also vast. Everything in nature is vast. Why? It's me, no. All aspects of the ornament has to be gold, because it is gold. Similarly, everything in nature, whether it can be an atom or the I don't know what all planets they talk about, isn't it? Universe, multiverse, adile they say beyond a point we don't even understand what is happening. And then they say, no, from the point of observer only the light is traveling. From the standpoint of the light, it is always stationary. You know that? If you ask the light, it will say, I am here only. Light is moving only from the observer standpoint. Light doesn't move at all from the light standpoint. All that he says very beautifully. He says what? It's only a brief statement by me of the extent of my manifestation. Verse number 41 padingo.
Sorry.
வாங்க மெதுவா வாங்க. க்ளோரியிலே உட்கார்ந்துருப்போம் நம்ம. Nothing to yeah, there is this glory. Yat vibhutim sattvam Srimadurjitameva va tatte devava gachatvam mama tejom sa shambhavam. It's number 41. Whatever being is glorious, prosperous, powerful, know you that only to be a manifestation of a part of my splendor. The conclusion. This is the conclusion. Mari Torayamala, I can't keep repeating it. How long will I keep repeating? Because we need to leave and go to the next. Therefore, Arjuna, collectively, I'll just tell you in one sweeping statement. What is that sweeping statement? whatever, yet, wherever, எங்கெல்லாம், எதெல்லாம் glorious, prosperous, powerful. Understand all that as part of my divine manifest. அது கூட full கிடையாது. Part of my divine manifestation. Awe-inspiring expressions, it's easy to see. That's what he said. Spectacular expressions, you can easily remember the divine. So he says, wherever you see anything spectacular, understand it as me. Understand it as me. Understand it as me. With the grosser eyes, you can see external magnificence. With the Sukshma Buddhi, the intellect, you can understand with the Sukshma Buddhi, with the intellect, you can understand the vastness in an atom itself. That's why we say, as we keep growing, you see divine everywhere. Right at one level, you need a mighty expression like a Himalayas. At another level, you need an expression like sunset, sunrise. At another level, you need an expression like peeling a banana. At another time, you need a flower that you see is enough to remember the divine. Yeah. You look at yourself, you know divine is there. Yeah. You look at yourself. What an expression of divine is you. What an expression of divine is you. Everything in it is so divine, so wonderful, isn't it? You go to sleep, you wake up without losing anything. How scary it is that you sleep. At least, I don't know, at least previously, I was a bit scared. எந்திரிக்கும் போது இப்படிதான் எந்திரிப்போன்றதுக்கு what guarantee I used to think within myself. And I asked, who else to ask? One blind fellow can go and ask another blind fellow only, isn't it? So I went and asked my friends, hey, உங்களுக்குலாம் அப்படி வருமா? உனக்கு பைத்தியம் முடிச்சிருச்சாரு. Gone mad, that's why you think, what a divine thing that, it goes into unmanifest, it comes back into manifestation, such a divine thing that is happening all around. And human being is so caught up in their own pettiness, misses the divine. Therefore, what he says here, so beautifully he says, Yat yat vibhutim vibhuti mat. Mat means my glory. Vibhuti, my glory. Wherever you see all this, what all you see, wherever you see all this, wherever you see Srimat, wherever you see prosperity, wherever you see glory, wherever you see Urjitam, power. Urjitam na authority. Urjitam means authority. Urjitama solungo they say, isn't it? Urjitam means the power. Power means authority. So wherever you see glory, wherever you see prosperity, wherever you see authority means that can never ever go wrong. That's what authority is. Sir, இன்னைக்கு ஒன்று சொன்னா ஆனால் மத்தியானம் தப்பாயிடுச்சுன்னா then that's not authority. Authority means say it and it can never ever go wrong. All that is possible only in the divine. Therefore he says, whatever being is glorious, prosperous, powerful, know you. தெரிஞ்சுக்கோ, கரெக்டா புரிஞ்சுக்கோங்க. He says, know you. You should understand what? Only a manifestation of a part. Little bit of my what? Tejomsha Sambhavam. Tejomsha Sambhavam. Meaning a minute part of my total splendor. A minute part of it means what? It means what? Cannot be defined, Arjuna. You can't put it in words. If you want to know it, jump out of the well. Don't try to keep the well as the benchmark to understand all this. Jump out of the well, but the frog cannot jump out of the well. Yenna comfort anga. Why the frog cannot jump out of the well? Because its security, its comfort lies in the well. Foolish frog. One day it will learn what? There is this thing called ocean, and the only way to know the ocean is get out of the well. Get out of the well. Similarly, if you get out of the body, mind, intellect instruments, then the divine is perceived. As long as you are stuck to this, you will keep the body, mind, intellect as the yardstick. Just as well is the yardstick for the frog. Well, body, mind, intellect is the yardstick for a human. So everything about divine again will be restricted to. Again, it will be restricted to this. Therefore, he says, wherever you see glory, wherever you see prosperity, wherever you see anything powerful, understand that to be anything exceptional. The human mind gets attracted to anything exceptional, positive or negative, isn't it? Anything exceptional, mind gets attracted. Oh, 10 கொலை பண்ணியிருக்கிறார்ப்பா அவர். Yes, more than 10 fellows, sir. Anything exceptional, mind gets attracted. Oh, all his property he has given for charity. Huh? Oh. So anything exceptional, mind gets attracted. So he is using this nature of the human mind to say what? Wherever there is glory, prosperity, power, authority, understand it as me. This is verse number 41. There is one more verse, 42, with which chapter 10 will end. We'll continue next week. And maybe move on to chapter 11 itself. This is verse number 41. That verse number 42, I'm not taking it today because after discussing the entire Vibhuti and all that, he takes the discussion straight to an Upanishadic level in verse number 42 and he concludes. So let us spend some little bit of time in that because suddenly he's talking about glory, 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 and then he lifts the whole thing to the next level. That is verse number 42. Next week, we'll take up 42 and conclude chapter. We'll meet next week.
There is a clarification by Bharat.
Clarification. Is he posted it? Oh, great. Okay. Clarification. Hari Om Guruji, requesting your attention for a clarification to this statement. Understanding is out of contemplation. Understanding is out of contemplation. Statement number 1. Statement number 2. Contemplation leads to conception. Understanding. Conception leads to a form or a shape, leads to idealization, and finally subjective to opinions. So, when we contemplate, do we need to seek a form? This is reference to the current chapter. So, Bharat is asking a question in relation to the entire chapter 10. Bharat, a question explain 15 minutes I have to take. And then only I'll give the answer. So, Bharat, the question.
Sorry.
No. Understanding is out of contemplation. Correct. Understanding is out of thinking. When you use the word contemplation, you mean deep penetrative thinking. So contemplation means deep penetrative thinking. So any understanding comes out of deep penetrative thinking. So this deep penetrative thinking leads to a form or a shape. That form or that form or shape is what is called an idol. Idol is that's what makes it into an idol. And it is finally purely subjective matter. Subjective matter means it is dependent on the intensity of that individual's contemplation. In that sense, it is subjective. Correct. So, now the question. Is all the vibhutis that is given here, is all the glories that is given here, are they not subjective? Are they not subjective? Subjective means it may be impressive to some, may not be impressive to some. Are they not subjective? All idols are subjective. All symbolic representations are subjective only. Bharat. It is purely subjective based on your past association. For example, I will come and give you a laddu and say it is gotten from Adayar Ananda Bhavan. How you will treat that laddu? Again, another laddu, Tirupati Balaji. Both are made up of sugar and Kallamavada, isn't it? Both are made up of sugar, both are made up of the same dal only. The moment it is said it is from Tirupati, the very perception of the laddu has changed. The very perception has completely changed. Are you able to understand the difference? So, this is purely a subjective idolization only. It is purely subjective only. Because what will impress, what will help, what divine man, what extraordinary manifestation impresses one will not impress somebody else. Like there are people who can go to Niagara Falls and say, Tirumpolama bore adigidi, they can say. They can say that. They are not wrong. They are not wrong. For them, some other mighty expression will remember them of divine. You follow? Therefore, whatever list he is given, he has given a list based on a very broad understanding of little bit of Shastric knowledge, little bit of worldly knowledge, little bit of all this. A person who has a little bit of here and there of all these things, the list can be, the list that he has given is inspiring about the divine. Supposing a person who has not having this background at all, 10th chapter மாதிரி ஒரு boring chapter இருக்கவே இருக்காது. True it is. Supposing if we give the Abrahamic gods list here and talk. Supposing if we give the Abrahamic gods list here and talk. You know, Abraham, David, blah, 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 Moses, then blah, blah, and then John, and then Christ, blah, blah. Now, if we start giving those lists and also the Greek gods, at least these people are there, and then combine these masters with the Greek gods and give this, inga yaarukku onnume puriyadhu, because we have no connection with that. So right. What he is doing is he is taking it up by which we have a connection and speak. Like few months back, somebody in the US was talking about this, some question they asked me about this 10th chapter. I said, forget about the list of Arjuna. Take your list, I said. Have the list of your Greek gods and the Abrahamic tradition you have and put all that and say, this is me, this is me, this is me. You will understand. Don't try to artificially fit into Ganges is me, Kamadhenu is me. You follow? Therefore, it is purely subjective. Subjective means influence of the past. Subjective means influence of the past. So what he has done is taking up the influence of the past, he gave a list, and then in the verse that we just concluded, which is what I would have continued next week also. Thank God you led me into the discussion today itself. Next week I would have continued and said, whatever being is glorious, prosperous, powerful, verse number 41 that we read just now is the direct answer. He's saying wherever it is, which is purely subjective phenomena, it can help you to remember the divine. Where we will have a difficulty is when we look at it as a frog in the well comparison. Meaning, frog in the well means, imagine in the devotee of Rama, ardent devotee of Lord Rama's dream, Muhammad comes and mosque comes. What will happen? That fellow will wake up and ask, do I have to do any prayaschitta? He will ask, isn't it? When he wakes up, first question that person will ask is what? I had a very bad dream. What is that bad dream? Mosque came and Muhammad came and all the chanting of the mosque things is coming. Maybe I should do something. Why? Because his concept of divine is not at all divine in any sense. So in that sense, it should not be subjective. You follow the difference? It should not be subjective in that sense. It is subjective from the sense of I have a background, and in that background, certain things straight away helps me to remember the divine. Example, laddun kudukalam. Same laddu from Tirupati na, immediately what I will do? Have you ever observed it within yourself? The very perception of it has completely changed. The way that it will not be a dessert anymore. Will you say I had Tirupati laddu for dessert? It's a sweet only. No, you can have it. No. The very perception changes. Why? That's divine. That's divine. You can't say what is for dessert today. Tirupati laddu. Narayana. God only has to save that person. You can't. You will not say that. Why? Because you have a long association. Just as you see Ganesha, you will not say what an ugly specimen it is. Fat, big, obese stomach and elephant head. What kind of a form is it? Elephant head and a obese body. Will you say that? You will not. Because it reminds you of the divine. But the same person somewhere else, they will not be able. But then what we should be careful is, this alone is divine, rest are all not divine. That should not be there. You follow Bharat? That should not be there. I can't say this is only divine. There is no divine in mosque. It should not be said that. I pray differently, they pray differently. It is divine. As the Vibhuti Yoga. So understanding Vibhuti Yoga means this. There is the divine there, there is the divine here. But because of my upbringing and conditioning and all that, because of long association with Acharya, Narayana, Vandana, because for everything he'll say Narayana. Ipo after Paramacharya to be prostrate panna kuda, he will not say bless, he will say Narayana. Narayana, you are prostrating not to me, you are prostrating to Narayana. Yeah. So long association with him for anything and everything, I'll say Narayana. Long back, one of the Shaivite person, they say, how can you say Narayana? You are supposed to say Om Namah Shivaya, no? Because you are a Shaivite. I said, when did I say I don't know whether I am a Shaivite or a religious person, first of all. And then only come into the denomination comes much later. This is Ajnanam, ignorance, which has got nothing to do with the divine. This is Ajnanam. This is ignorance, nothing to do with divine. Therefore, what is divine? Yat yat vibhutim sattvam, Srimadam, Urjitam, all that he said. So, wherever in the world, Arjuna, wherever, whatever is there which is glorious, prosperous, powerful, see it as me. Meaning, see it as divine. See it as divine. Definitely, the subjective list will vary from person to person. The subjective variation, Varun Rathagavasaranda, that traditionally we have accepted it as Ishtadevata. The very concept of Ishtadevata is subjective. in the house, Ishtadevata, the husband can have Ishtadevata, wife can have Ishtadevata. Both need not have the same one. They are husband and wife. Therefore, no. The tradition says, Veda says, no, you can have your Ishtadevata. The wife can have her Ishtadevata. And that's subjective one. Are you able to follow? Subjective na Ishtadevata. But again, my divine is restricted only to this in Varumboda, it becomes a problem. That's not what he's saying. Follow? Did I help you, Bharat?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a small corollary, I should say. It's not a.
Yes.
So, suppose I say,
yeah.
Balaji, right?
Yes.
So our minds have been tuned only to see Lord Venkateshwara.
Yes.
Why? This is the problem which I was trying to seek answer.
Yes.
By reading this text,
yes,
don't we think that our mind is getting tuned to think?
Yes.
But what you told me is a little different. Like you say,
Yes.
okay, fine. That means there's a further training that is required
Yes.
for the mind to say, this is different from what we are
Yes.
reading.
Yes.
But honestly speaking, if I suppose I say the best, suppose I look out into anybody else. So
Yes.
for everybody, it gets kind of limited in that thinking.
Yes.
So I was just wondering
Yes. It
whether
is
that is
limited.
expanding the mind is a
Yes.
definitely the
And
way to go.
because the mind has to be tuned into with limited things first. Straight away, you can't tune the mind to the infinite. So you have to tune the mind to the finite. And when you see the finite, definitely it will be something which you have already been exposed to. It's easy. Are you able to follow?
So Guruji, the other aspect
Yes.
which I wanted to highlight, I'm sorry I'm taking some time.
No issues.
See, for example, when we look at Tirupati Laddu,
Yes.
you gave an example. So we all, when we say Tirupati Laddu, we look at it as a big piece,
Yes.
big one, which has
Yes.
got all the
Yes.
ingredients of whatever taste goes in.
Yes.
But then if somebody gives you a smaller Laddu, which they are
Yes.
doing,
Yes.
you would say, it is not the same. So,
Correct.
so what happens is, this is the problem statement.
Yes.
And we stop to think that anything in any form can be divine. So
Correct.
we just start, so this is not the Laddu which I want.
Yes. And the
So I
frog
will not be in a
category.
position to accept any
Yes.
deviation of thought. Yeah.
Any deviation, we are not able to accept frog in the well. The benchmark is that. So everything has to be connected to that benchmark. It is necessary at one point of time. And then it also has to be transcended also at another point in time. It is necessary. Is it okay, Bharat?
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah. With this, we conclude for today. We'll continue with
Thank you.
number 42 next.
Thank you.
Thanks.